Okay, I've got some cooked salmon. I have some mozzarella. I have little tiny tomatoes that I've cut into 4. And I've got some aubergine. I'm just going to compile them all into these little tarts, make little tartlets and put them in the oven. Now, that's all I'm aiming to do. And I've got this little thing here to cut out with, which I think will be about the right size, but we'll see, won't we? So, if not, I'll have to get a bigger one. But let's just see if this is the right size. You just pop them in these things. You could use a different size. These just look nice on the plate because you can give somebody a couple of those, a few bits of salad, and they've got a meal. There we are. They are the right size, and this does work and they don't stick. I know you can get proper pastry cutters, but it's just something else to fit in a small kitchen, isn't it? There we are. One. You do get leftover wastage, which you can put together, roll out and make into little tasty nibbly things, which we might do, but whatever you cut these out of, you will get waste. There's nothing you can do. This is one of these pre-rolled French pastries. It's a puff pastry and it's made with, I usually buy puff pastry because I like the flavour, and it's made with rather a large quantity, there you are, of butter, and it doesn't have anything synthetic. It's got nothing nasty in it. I don't think I could do any better if I did it myself. So this is from the piece of salmon that I cooked in the oven and just baked, and this is the part that's on the belly side. So as you can see, probably it's got a lot more fat in it and will withstand being recooked. Whereas the more delicate meat from the back, we will definitely only have that with cold things. There we are. Now, what you're trying to do with these, I think I planned on having enough 6, so we'll do that and then I'll do something else with that later. Now, the first thing you do is you put your little bits of salmon in. Everything is without bones, and I shouldn't have to say that really, but I took all the bones out of it before I cooked it. You don't need vast amounts, but you need enough to give it some flavour. Okay. Put this on the bottom. You can also use tuna from a tin if you wanted. I could probably get another 2 out of that, so let's just make another 2, shall we? That's the oven coming to temperature, and there we are. We want them to make contact with the metal tray because that gives them a little bit of something. There we are, and then I've got enough left just for 1 more, so that's what I'm going to make, 1 more. There we are. So we've got enough for 8. I think we're probably getting enough ingredients for 8. Depending on the size of tomato, of course. You can just, if you had a large tomato, just cut 1 slice, because that's what I've done with the aubergine. And I think we take a little bit out of there, a little bit out of there, so everywhere has much the same now, I think. This one still looks a bit much. Right. Okay, now you take these and you, I can't remember whether to put these underneath or those. This goes on top of here, certainly, but those go on the top. Well, I suppose it doesn't really matter. Do you know, I can't remember, but these look a bit big, so I'm going to cut that down because I don't really want anything too big. At the moment, you just have to use what you've got, but I would buy a thinner one, and then I can have whole slices. Right. See, the little ones will go in quite nicely. There you are. These will have to cut these down. There. On the top, I'm going to put these. Can you see these are quartered? So they'll cook. But if you had a big tomato, you could just do thin slices, which is much the same. Right. So we put this on here. We just put some of this on, and this adds flavour and a little bit of fat to moisten these little things, so all of it gets something that it needs to be moist and juicy and flavourful. There you are. Now we put these on the top. Not so easy with the little tomatoes, but I haven't got any big ones. You can imagine that if you had one big one and you just put a slice over the top, it would be easier. You need some tomato to give it that little acid edge that is so nice in your cooking. There you are. We're nearly there. There you are. And the last few on there. And I've got very little on this one. There you are. Now I've got to get it into the oven without spilling it all over the place. And that's usually quite a difficult thing for me. Not spilling things is... Well, anyway, now you've got the general idea. See, all you've done is layered ingredients. You've not done anything complicated at all. And now we put these in there. Oh no, I just don't want to do today. Oh, God. Well, this is starting again, and this time I'm going to be much more careful. Paul wants to put it in the oven, but I think I can manage. I'm going to open the oven and very slowly and carefully pop it in. Yes. Very unfortunate that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is use this last bit up. Okay. What I've done, I've taken the leftovers, and as you can see I've sort of squished them together and I've lined them. I've taken 2 little apples, very tiny apples, cored them and peeled them, and now I'm going to put some of this in the bottom. This is ground almond. It will add a richness to the flavour, but it also will blot up any of the liquid that's going to fall out of the apples. And I'm going to pop those in, just pile them in on top because they just taste nice. And it's just a way of using everything up and producing a little dessert to go along as a little treat. These are just cooking apples. They don't need any sugar on them. They just cook. I think these are golden delicious actually. Very small golden delicious. So they're nothing special in the apple. It's just apple. And I like to add a little flavouring. This is quite nice to add because it goes so well with almond products. Okay. I know they tell you don't do that, And I know they say you shouldn't, but it seems to work, so I do. And this one here, I'm just going to sprinkle over the top because I know how much Paul likes cannelle. That's what they call cinnamon, and it's just ground cinnamon. Now that's very straightforward and simple. I like now to add a little blob of butter. This is butter, okay? Now by adding a little tiny touch of butter, it just stops it burning and gives it a nice, well, sort of fondant is the way the French describe it. So I just add a little tiny bit of butter to each of them. And it just melts in and just makes the whole thing extra nice and creamy. Adds a touch of luxury. That's a very simple, very, very simple dessert from very little. I can't put this in until that one comes out, but I think the time is gone, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. So we can take that one out. I think I'd leave it to you to do that. Otherwise we won't eat tonight. I'll take one. Okay. These little tartlets, we had to remake them after the fiasco I had earlier, but they didn't take very long to remake. And that does mean we can eat. And these are the leftover pastry, 2 apples, and a couple of spoonfuls of ground almonds. And, you know, there's nothing there. So I'm going to be very careful putting this one in. Very careful indeed. And this one, like the last one, this is a 15-minute. I don't think this will take any longer than 15 minutes either. You're not trying to do anything marvellous. There's nothing to sterilise. Everything's cooked. And this, we'll put this on a plate so you can see. This is a non-stick thingy, but they never work that well. But I never use anything nasty on it. And also, you need to leave it that 5 minutes. That magic 5 minutes, I think, shrinks them a little bit so they'll lift. They won't all lift because some of them, like this one, have leaked. Oh, there we are. That's what you should hope for if you kept everything inside. But, of course, I haven't, have I? So we're going to have to... This is a magic little thing, by the way, because it's got... It doesn't hurt anything that you don't want it to, but it actually will. There you are. They're not that difficult, are they? Now, I will do a vegetarian one. Oops! Oh dear. I might let Paul... Oh, that... Shall I just take the easy ones out and let you do the others, Paul? Okay. But if you didn't leave it that magic 5 minutes, it won't, you'll think they're all stuck and then you'll hack at them with a spoon. There you are, they didn't actually stick too badly. This I will have to soak. I'll soak it overnight and then it'll lift off. Otherwise you've got to scratch it and it ruins the surface. I can't get this size in France. This was brought over by my friend Isabel for me from England because they're actually mince pie tarts. But the reason that I like that size is because you get the right amount of depth without, if they're too deep, they go soggy on the inside. And if they're too shallow, you've got nothing to eat except pastry. So I quite like this size. So I do look after them. In fact, I've had them 15 years.